What's up guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we got something really exciting, because in this video we will be going through all the predicted lineups for all 16 countries that will be competing at the Copa America 2024 this summer. Roc and I have done a lot of research and we've been doing our best to get the predicted lineups as best as possible, but we have to be honest, for some countries it was really hard for us to find any information. So keep in mind guys, when I'm talking about a certain country, it is only a prediction. I've done our best. If I made any mistakes, let me know in the comments, and let's help each other out here. With that being said, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and with that being said, let's go over to Group A. So what better way to start off Group A than with the World Cup winners Argentina. They're coming in with a strong squad again this year, and what better way to start off from the back with Emiliano Martinez, who, if he stays fit, will be starting 100% for Argentina. Then if we move on to the defense, there is no Molina this time in the squad, which will probably mean that Montiel will be starting at right back. The center back pairing will definitely contain Romero, but we could see either Otamendi or Lisandro Martinez next to him. I prefer Otamendi, so that's why he's in this predicted lineup, but Lisandro Martinez definitely has a chance of coming in. The left back, pretty much a 50-50. We either could see Acuna, we could see Tagliafico. It will probably depend on the day. Then if we move on to the midfield, should be a pretty nailed midfield with De Paul, McAllister and Enzo Fernandez. Only thing is, Enzo isn't 100% fit at the time of recording, so it's going to be interesting to see if he makes the squad. But if he is fit, Enzo will be definitely on the list. If he isn't, we could either see Paredes come in, we could see Palacios come in for him. So definitely some options right there. And then if you move on to the front three, in this 4-3-3 system that Argentina play, we see of course Lionel Messi, who's definitely going to start every single game, with probably Di Maria on the left. He has said that this will be his last few games for the Argentinian national team, so I do expect Di Maria to get a few minutes, but we could also see Alvarez maybe on the left with Lautaro as the forward, or we could see Nico Gonzalez playing instead of Di Maria, because Nico Gonzalez has gotten a lot of hype, and he's very talented, had a great season at Fiorentina as well, so we could potentially see that as well. So a strong squad for Argentina, and definitely some big chances for them to win the Copa America. Moving on to another team in Group A, which will be Canada, where the only main thing we have here is the goalkeeper situation. They played two friendlies, one against the Netherlands and one against France, and in both games we saw a different goalkeeper. We've seen Sinclair in the 4-0 loss against the Netherlands, and we saw Crépeau in a 0-0 draw against France, which for me probably will mean that Crépeau will be the starting goalkeeper for Canada during the Copa America. In general, in this 4-4-2 system, everyone is pretty much nailed. As you guys can see, the defense with Johnston, Bambito, Cornelius, and Davies pretty much nailed. Can't see anyone coming in for them. Then the center mids with Estuquillo and Kone, they played pretty well in those two friendlies as well, so will probably be starting as well. On the right we got Buchanan, on the left with Miller, and the forwards with David and Larin. In my opinion, this is one of the most nailed teams in this country. Of course, it's going to be interesting with their new coach, who has just come in for I think around 3 weeks ago. So I do think this will be the starting 11 for them, but we could definitely see some changes with players like Miller, who could come in at center back. We see Osorio, who could come in as a midfielder, Laria, who I think is a right back, and of course Schaffelberg, who will probably make some minutes and get subbed in a few times as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Canada. Now, moving on to the third country in Group A, where we have Chile, who play a 4-2-3-1 formation. And unfortunately for Chile, in their last preparation game against Paraguay, I think it was, their goalkeeper and captain Claudio Bravo got injured. At the time of recording, I don't know if he will be making the Copa America, but if he is fit, he will definitely be the number one. But for now, as he isn't fit, Arias will be starting in net for Chile. Then the defense, in my opinion, is pretty nailed with Isla, Catalan, Lichovsky and Suazo. Can't see anyone coming in there. Isla could potentially come off after 60-70 minutes for Loyola. Then if we move on to the midfield, Nunez is just pretty nailed from Norwich. He's definitely going to be starting next to, in my opinion, Pulgar, but we could also see Echeverria come in as the CDM right there. And then for the three camps, like the central camp, we could potentially see Valdez Contreras, we could see Diaz as the left cam, and we could see Dafia as the right cam with Sanchez as the striker. But if Vargas, I think it is, if Vargas comes in, we could see Alexis Sanchez drop to the cam spot. Then we will either see Diaz as the left cam or Valdez Contreras, which is a little bit of a 50-50 as well. And then from the bench we also have Bolados, who could also play on the left. So the only nailed ones are pretty much Sanchez and Dafia. Then for the cam spot and the left attacking mid spot, we could see either Diaz, Valdez Contreras, Bolados. So loads of options there, but definitely a solid team. Now it's time for the fourth and last team in Group A, where we have gotten Peru. And Peru, if we look at their World Cup qualification form, they stand absolutely no chance in this group. They have 2 points in 6 games with only 1 goal scored, so it's going to be really tough in this group. But yeah, when we're looking at their lineups, there are a few players that are definitely nailed, like Galese, Zambrano, Callens, Tapia and Pollo. In my opinion, those 5 will definitely start as the third center back, because they do play a 3-5-2. We could see Araujo come in, but it could also be Corzo, so that's a little bit of a 50-50. On the left mid / left wing back, we have Lopez, who in my opinion is definitely gonna start, but we could see Peña playing there as well. Moving on to the 3 center mids / CDMs, we see Tapia as the nailed CDM, with Quispe, Cordova, who in my opinion is definitely going to start as well, with Carrillo. But we have a lot of options there, with Cartagena, who could play as a center mid, with Castillo, I think it is, who could also play as a center mid. So definitely some rotation possible there, with Pollo on the right mid / right wing back, who's definitely gonna make minutes as well. And then for the forwards, we got Lapadula and Rivera, who in my opinion should be starting for Peru and hopefully score some goals for them. But we also have Paulo Guerrero on the bench, who could potentially come on as well, or maybe even start for one of those. I want to say Lapadula, probably the most likely to start out of those 3. But again, for Peru, it was pretty tough to find any information, so I'm not too certain. But this is what I would go with for Peru. And now we have covered every nation in Group A, so let's move on to Group B. Alright then, the first team of Group B that we are going to cover is Mexico. They play a 4-3-3 system. They aren't in the best of form at the moment. And to top it all off, their goalkeeper Malagon got injured as well, which means we will probably see Gonzalez in between the sticks, which isn't their first choice, but still decent goalkeeper overall. Then for the 4-man's defense, we will probably see Jorge Sanchez at right back. I think we could also see Reyes there potentially, but I do think Jorge gets the nod and starts over Reyes. Then the 2 center backs will be Alvarez and Vasquez, because Montes isn't in the squad, and normally he would always play next to Vasquez as the center back, but now I do think Alvarez gets the start at center back. Left back, there is no Gallardo, which means we will definitely see Arteaga right there. So a solid 4-man backline in my opinion. Then onto the midfield is there are the players that have a chance of starting but also have a chance of being benched. The only nailed one in my opinion is Luis Chavez, who should be starting 100% in that midfield. I've paired him with Romo and Sanchez, but we could also see Rodriguez, for example, take one of those center mid spots instead of Romo or Sanchez, but you never know. Then the forwards, we see Jimenez, Quinones and Antuna. I want to say Jimenez and Quinones definitely will start up front. And then we could see some rotation between Antuna, we could see Alvarado, we could see Huerta on the left wing as well. Yeah, definitely some decent players there. So Mexico would say they have a chance of going through here, especially with this squad. Then moving on to the second team in Group B, where we have Ecuador, who in my opinion are a very underrated team and could definitely do well this Copa. They've shown it in their World Cup qualification, where they've only lost 1 game so far in 6 games, which was against Argentina, and they only lost 1-0. And yeah, the defense for me definitely nailed, with Dominguez in net, Preciado right back, Felix Torres, Pacho and Hincapié all starting. Hincapié at left back in a 4-3-3 system, because Estupiñán is injured, which means he won't make the Copa at all. Then on the midfield, we see Caicedo and Pais, who definitely are nailed as well. The only thing, or like the only 50-50 choice is between Ortiz and Franco in midfield. We could also see Gruezo in midfield as well, but I do think Ortiz or Franco will take that spot first. Then we got Yeboah, Sarmiento and Valencia in a 4-3-3 system, the 3 forwards who will definitely be starting. But Ecuador also know how to play a 5-back system. And if they start playing 5-back, which will then be a 5-2-3, we could either see Ordóñez come in for Yeboah, and Ordóñez is a center back, so he could potentially play right there with Hincapie still being on the left. But another choice would be bringing in Alan Minda as the left back and Hincapie to center back, and in both cases Yeboah will be going to the bench, with Caicedo and Ortiz probably playing on the midfield and Pais then moving to the right. So Yeboah and Ortiz aren't nailed, and I want to say that all the other 9 players are definitely nailed. Depending on the formation, only Yeboah and Ortiz could be swapped out. Now moving on to the third team in Group B, where we have Venezuela. They were very, very tough to read, to get any information from, especially because of the fact that they didn't play any friendlies before the Copa America, or at least at the time I am recording this. But yeah, we have found an article, so we are going with the predicted lineup that we have read right there. So I'm sorry if I made any mistakes, but this is the best I could do for you guys. We got the Romo in net in a 4-4-2 system with Gonzalez, Angel, Osorio and Navarro to complete that defense. They've started many times together, and I can't see them switching anything right there. And on the midfield in the 4-4-2 we got Herrera, Rincon as the 2 center mids with Savarino and Moreno to complete that. And then the 2 forwards will be most likely Rondon, we all know him from his Premier League days, and Ramirez. So that would complete the 4-4-2. We also have a few players that could potentially come on, like I think Darwin Machis, who plays for Cadiz. He said a lot on the bench, but I think for Venezuela he's definitely a big player there. We could also see Christian Cáceres make some minutes as the center mid, and we could also see Ferraresi. If the coach decides to play a 5-back, then Ferraresi comes in as the extra center back. And yeah, that is pretty much everything I have to say about Venezuela. So once again, I'm sorry if I made any mistakes. Let me know in the comments if you think you know it better, but this is the best I could do. And now to complete Group B, we got the last nation in this group, which is none other than Jamaica, who unfortunately are going to miss out on their #1 goalkeeper, which will mean that Wade will be in net right there. They play a 4-1-3-2 formation, which is a very interesting formation that we don't see that often. The defense, we got 2 nailed starters with Bernard and Ley. The other 2, Gray and Hector, are most likely to start, but they have a chance of getting swapped out for Lembikisa as the right back instead of Gray, or King as a center back instead of Hector. But yeah, that's all on the coach. Then as a center mid, we got Anderson or Lowe, which is in my opinion a 50-50 as well. But when looking at the last friendlies, I do think Anderson gets the nod over Lowe. Then the midfield will be completed with Johnson, De Cordova-Reid from Fulham, and Cephas, which is in my opinion a very decent midfield as well. And then the 2 forwards will be none other than Mr. Antonio and Nicholson, in my opinion. On the midfield though, there could be a lot of rotation, because we could see Lau, as I said, as a CDM instead of Anderson. We could see Palmer come in as a center mid, and we could also see Beckford. So it's going to be interesting to see how that midfield lines up. But in my opinion, the defense and especially the forwards are very nailed. So it's going to be interesting to see how Jamaica perform in this Copa. 2 groups done, which means it is now time to cover Group C, and we're gonna start with none other than the USA. And in my opinion, the USA have a very decent team, and if they keep on the form that they had during the World Cup, even though they went out early, they could be a dark horse in this tournament as well. But now, in net, who's going to start? None other than Matt Turner. Very nailed. Can't see anyone else starting over him. Then in the defense, in a 4-3-3 system, we got Skelly, Ream, Richards and Robinson. The only 50-50 choice here is Skelly. In my opinion, he does start, but there is a chance we see Musa at right back, but it all depends on the coach's decision as well. Then on the midfield, we see McKennie, who's a nailed starter, next to Adams and Reina. Adams has just come back from injury, but he played a few minutes in their recent friendlies, so there is a chance he starts. We could also see Cardoso get the start, because he is 100% fit. But again, that will depend on how Adams performs on trainings and stuff like that. But in my opinion, Adams is going to get the start. Then we see Reina, who hasn't made many minutes, but every time he plays for the USA national team, always seems to perform. So you just can't go wrong with him. Then the forwards, we see Pulisic, Captain America, with Balogun and Weah. There are many options there as well that could come on from the bench, like Haji Wright. We see Malik Tillman, who had a great season at PSV, who could either play on the midfield, play right wing, play left wing. So definitely loads and loads of options there. And there is also a chance that we see the USA play a 5-back, and when they do that, we will probably see Carter Vickers come in as an extra center back, and then one of the 3 forwards will probably get out and be benched. So that's it for the USA. Now let's move on to the second team. As I just said, it is time to move over to the second team in Group C, and in my opinion, the team that could potentially win it all this Copa America. We got Uruguay, who are coming into the tournament really hot. They are in incredible form, and I can definitely see them doing well. In net, we will probably see Rocher. I saw a lot of Uruguayan people saying, why no Muslera, this and that, but I think Muslera is just too old, and I think we will definitely see Rocher, especially when looking at all the past games that Uruguay played. He was in net for all of them. In the defense, in my opinion, pretty nailed. We see Oliveira, we see Jimenez, we see Coates and Araujo. Only thing here could be that Araujo might get benched for Cáceres, but I do think Coates, with all his experience, will get the start over him. Then on the midfield, we see Bentancur, Ugarte and Valverde. The thing is, Valverde nailed 100%. The only question is, does he play as a centre mid, or does he get used as a right winger? If we see Valverde on that right winger position, we could potentially see De La Cruz come in. I saw that a lot of people wanted him to start, so he could potentially even start over Bentancur or Ugarte. But yeah, that is just something we need to wait for and see. Then the front three, if everyone is fit, we will see Nunez, Luis, Suarez, and none other than Pelistri, I think it is. And a lot of people are expecting a lot from Pelistri, the 19-year-old kid. Nunez, I think he got injured in one of the last games, but I think he should be fine to make the Copa. And Suarez, even though he is old, we will definitely see him play. Some other people that could potentially come in are Arrasqueta on the midfield as well. Don't think he starts, but he could definitely come on from the bench. And then we have Araujo, who could potentially play either left wing or right wing, just somewhere in that front position. So Uruguay, definitely a team or a nation to look out for during the Copa America. Now, on to the third team in Group C. We have gotten Panama, who are a little bit of outsiders in this group, especially because they are facing Uruguay and the USA in this group, but still a dark horse in this group, and they could potentially go through. Formation wise, they play a 5-4-1/5-2-1-ish formation. It was a little bit tough to get a lot of information on this team, but we've tried our best. The main thing to cover here is that Waterman is out injured, which is their main striker, and will probably miss the whole Copa. But yeah, more on that in a bit. For the goalkeeper spot, we think Meja is going to start, but there is also a small chance that Mosquera starts. But Meja will probably start, as he played all the practice games before the Copa. Defensively, everyone is pretty much nailed except for Miller at center back, but I think Cordoba, Anderson, Murillo and Davis will definitely be in that back five. Miller could potentially be swapped out for Blackman, but that's a little bit of a 50-50. Then the two center mids with Godoy and Carrasqueia will definitely be starting together in that center mid pairing. And then the forwards, we got Fajardo and Barqueñas, who will definitely be starting. And then Diaz will probably fight over Rodriguez, and Puma as well has a little chance of playing in either one of the cam spots or on the right wing. So going to be interesting to see how Panama do in this group. And now let's move on to the last country of Group C, where we have gotten Bolivia, who will probably be playing in a 4-4-2. They could also play a 5-back, but more on that in a bit. The goalkeeper will probably be Vizcarra. They also have a second goalkeeper with Lampe, who could maybe start, but we are going to favor Vizcarra in this case. The defense pretty much nailed with Medina as their right back, Hakim, Jusinho and Fernandez to complete Medina in that defense. And then two midfielders who are pretty much nailed if we play a 4-4-2 with Justiniano and Ramiro Faca. The other two midfielders we favored here are Saucedo and Ramalho, but they will potentially be swapped with Villamil and Adalit Terraza. So those two could potentially get swapped out. And then for the two strikers, we see Camelo Algaranaz, who will definitely start next to Bruno Miranda, who is definitely going to start if they play a 4-4-2. But if they decide to play a 5-back, we will see center back Jose Sagredo come in, which will mean that Bruno Miranda will get benched. So yeah, again, for Bolivia it was really tough for us to get a lot of information, but this is what we came with. So let us know if you are from Bolivia, if it was a little bit right, and if not, correct us in the comments. Before we move into Group D, guys, if you guys are enjoying this video right now, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done it already, and let us know in the comments who is going to win Copa America this summer. Now, let's move on to the first nation in Group D, which will be none other than Brazil, always a favorite for the Copa America. Even though they aren't doing too great in the World Cup qualification, they have a strong team again, and they will definitely be fighting for the win. But in net, of course, none other than Alisson in a 4-3-3 formation, with, in my opinion, a very nailed defense with Danilo on the right, Wendell on the left, Gabriel paired up with Marquinhos at center back. Of course, there are many great center backs like Militao and Bremer who could potentially come in from the start as well, but personally, I'm going to favor Gabriel and Marquinhos as the center backs. On the midfield, we got two pretty nailed spots with Bruno Guimaraes and Paqueta. The third spot will go between Douglas Luiz and João Gomez. Then, the forwards, no other than Vini Jr. will definitely start from the beginning, in my opinion, with Rodrigo and Rafinha. I don't know exactly who's going to play striker, but I mean, Vini and Rodrigo have played in those positions as well at Real Madrid, of course, so they definitely know what to do there. And then from the bench, we will definitely see the wonderkid Endrick make minutes as well from the bench, and probably Savio as well. But in my opinion, Brazil have a really strong squad, and hopefully they can perform this tournament. Now, moving on to one of the best performing teams at the moment in the world, we've got Colombia, who are unbeaten for 22 straight games now. They haven't lost a game. I think their last loss was from the 2nd of February 2022, which is more than 2 years ago, and they have a pretty nailed lineup, especially in defense, where we have Vargas as the goalkeeper, Munoz on the right, Lukumi as the center back next to Sanchez, or Mina, but in my opinion, Sanchez will be starting for them. On the left, we see Mojica, which is a very solid defense. Then, as the three midfielders, because they are playing a 4-3-3 formation, we got Lerma, Uribe, and the one and only James Rodriguez, who is the captain of the team and has shown his class in their friendlies, especially against America, or against the USA as you guys call them. So very exciting to see him play on the highest level once again. Then the three forwards, we will definitely see Luis Diaz, nailed starter, the left winger from Liverpool, and John Arias on the right. And then the striker is actually a position where Colombia have loads of quality. We could potentially see Borré, who started in the last friendly, I'm pretty sure, but we could also see Cordoba, we could see Duran, we could see Asperilla. And of course, on the bench as well, they got no other than Luis Sinistera, who will definitely come on from the bench and be really exciting to watch. But definitely, guys, Colombia, a great team who could do amazing at the Copa America this summer. Now, moving on to the penultimate lineup of this video, the 15th team in the Copa America will be none other than Paraguay, who aren't the best in form at the moment. We have to be honest, we've seen them play in some friendlies, and they just weren't convincing at all. It was a little bit tough to find information about Paraguay as well, but we have gone with the following. A 4-2-3-1 formation with Coronel in net, with in defense two nailed starters with Velasquez on the right, Balbuena as their center back, and probably a 50-50 between Alderete and Gustavo Gomez to partner Balbuena. On the left, we've seen that their main left back, who normally started, isn't in the squad, which means there is a 50-50 between Alonso and Jimenez Florentin. Then the three midfielders will probably contain of Filasanti, Cubas, and Enciso, but we could potentially see Rojas come in for either of those three as well. And then the three forwards, we got Almiron, Arce Barrios, and Sosa. Almiron pretty nailed. The striker Barrios could potentially be swapped out with Barreiro, but we do think Barrios gets the nod. And then we could also see Kaku make some minutes from the bench, but it isn't likely that he will be starting. So for Paraguay, again, guys, let us know in the comments if we made any mistakes, because we tried our best here, but it was really tough to get any information from the Paraguay team. So definitely let us know where we went wrong. Now we are already on to the last predicted lineup of the Copa America 2024, and we got none other than Costa Rica, who are going to finish off Group D. Costa Rica are going to play in a 3-4-3 formation. Within that, they will be definitely starting with Siqueira. The defense, in my opinion, is pretty much nailed, with Calfo, Cascante, and Michel as the three center backs. Then on the right mid, we will probably see Queiroz, but there is a chance we see Taylor, Dosman coming in that right mid spot as well. On the left mid, we got La Cité, who's 100% starting for this Costa Rica team. Then the two center mids will probably be Gallo and Brenes, but there is a chance that Aguilera Zamora makes minutes right there. We could also see Aloker as a center mid, but Aloker could also play on the right winger position, where right now we went with Madrigal, who's in my opinion 50-50 with Aloker as well, but Aloker could play on multiple positions. Then the two nailed forwards are definitely Zamora as their main striker and none other than Manfred Ugalde, who's had an amazing season at Twente until he made a big transfer to Spartak Moscow. Of course, the big man Campbell could also come on from the bench and probably do some damage, but for me, Ugalde and Zamora will definitely make the starting 11. And with that being said, guys, we are already done with predicting the lineup. 16 nations we have predicted in this video. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done it already. And once again, guys, it was only a predicted lineup, so let me know in the comments what we did wrong in our research and if we could have known anything else as well. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys very soon. Peace.